Hot end designs for Bambu Lab X1 and P1 printers are getting absolutely ridiculous. They range from looking almost the same as the original but performing leaps and bounds better to dual heaters and fin tubes that act as nozzles. The variety of engineering is truly spectacular. The only question is, how well does each design perform for the main purpose of melting the filament? The proper way to determine that is not just by seeing if filament can be extruded, but rather by printing at increasing speeds and ripping samples apart to know how good the actual adhesion is. But this time I will go even deeper by additionally testing how much force each hot end needs to extrude the filament at those same printing speeds. There are so many fascinating things to look at and talk about, so let's dive straight into the good stuff. We have so many hot end choices for P1 and X1 printers, but we get overwhelmed when trying to compare them. That is why I love this video series. It immensely helps us make a decision based on actual testing data. But it also creates a little competition between companies which one can engineer the best performing hot end when limited to this tiny form factor. We have a long-awaited Slice Engineering Mako, a very unique 3DC Starlex DHB, Microswift's Flowtech, and the Phaetus Conch M6. Phaetus also released Conch hot ends for A1 series printers, but due to sheer volume of testing needed, I had to exclude them from this video. It is important to establish a starting comparison point, so here is the stock Bambu Labs hot ends performance and the best performing hot end so far, the A4D High Flow Obsidian. Meanwhile, to additionally provide the extrusion force results, I had to build a custom testing machine. I won't go too deep into the details when making it, but the main goal is rigidity. That is why I designed and ordered a custom load cell bracket that was CNC'd from aluminum by today's video sponsor PCBWay. The main purpose of it is to spread the load from a smaller concentrated area to a bigger one that can be further printed. For the parts, I chose Phaetus NextPA carbon fiber filled filament. It is based on PPA material, which offers incredible stiffness, and this one is also co-extruded, which should provide even more advantages. However, the key point is to orient your prints correctly, because that gives more than double the stiffness when fibers are aligned to the load direction. By the editing magic, I quickly assembled all the parts and started testing the extrusion force. I used electronics that fully represent the modern machines. For all the tests, I ran the custom Clipper script and logged data from the load cell. That gave these beautiful graphs. I suggest ignoring the starting peaks as they were not consistent throughout the testing and only looking at the time frame when the filament is extruded at a constant rate. The lower extrusion force is always better, as there will be less wear and tear on the extruder itself and less stress and deformation on the filament. Plus, for flexibles like TPU, having a hot end with low extrusion force technically means that you should be able to print it faster. So with all this out of the way, let's finally check the new hot ends. First, the one we waited for quite a while, Mako with Gamma Master nozzle. The main thing that makes it visually stand out from the rest is the fan frame made from aluminum. That raises a question, why would we need one? My best explanation would be because this hot end has a long melt zone and it goes deep inside the heatsink with no thermal insulation or airflow from the fan. The heatsink must dissipate way more heat, so basically the fan acts as an additional heatsink. It also adds up a significant amount of weight, and the Mako hot end ends up the heaviest I have tested so far. Plus, the fan makes quite a noticeable high-pitched noise, unlike the stock Bambu fan. Looking at the adhesion performance, I can say that it is very good compared to the stock Bambu hot end. It still falls short of the High Flow Obsidian, but the Mako hot end doesn't use CHT design on this nozzle, and nozzles are replaceable. Plus, it has hands down the most convenient and satisfying sock design that I have used so far. However, having a way longer melt zone also means that we're pushing more plastic inside the heat block and it requires significantly more force to extrude. I checked how much filaments deform at around 2 kg force mark, and even with softer matte PLA I didn't see any issues. So these higher numbers are nothing to be concerned about unless you mainly print TPU. This material is very squishy and would benefit the most from the low extrusion force. Next we have a Microswift Flowtech with CHT hardened tip nozzle. Unlike Mako, this one has the nozzle and the heat brick neatly integrated together and you have to tighten it with a provided tool. But this is the first hot end where you can't replace the heater and thermistor yourself. Considering that on the stock hot end you must be extra careful to not remove the clip that holds the heater when pulling the sock, this would be a nightmare on a hot end with switchable nozzles. So in this case the sealed core design makes this process easier and worry-free. However, the lay adhesion data of a Flowtech hot end with CHT nozzle was quite underwhelming as it drops by 20% at higher speeds. The performance decrease is very linear and extrusion force is one of the lowest at higher speeds, which is great, but it seems like we're bottlenecked by the thermal conductivity. To my best knowledge, this is because we're trying to heat a long nozzle using a short heat block that only makes contact on the threaded section, which also leaves many air gaps. This means lower thermal conductivity leads to PLA filament being heated at a lower temperature, which leads to worse lay adhesion. There's a reason why Volcano hot ends have nozzles fully seated into the heat block, as more contact area improves heat transfer. Plus, many of us use boron nitride paste to fill remaining air gaps, which further enhances thermal conductivity. A similar trend was with the Phaetos Conch M6. It has the identical melt zone length as the stock Bambu hot end, but because we're replacing a big portion of a heat block with a hardened steel V6 nozzle, we just can't expect a better performance than the stock hot end. But it is a budget-friendly hot end that was designed to allow for us using the most popular older V6 standard nozzles. Now we no longer need to do modifications, and I can really appreciate that. As the nozzle is the big portion of a melt zone, the performance will heavily depend on what type of nozzle you will be using. And for the last, the most interesting hot end that we have seen so far, the 3DC Starlex DHB with two 40-watt heaters and a hardened stainless steel core that acts as a nozzle. It is a genius design where both heaters are pressed to the nozzle with a simple clip that sits inside the sock. Unfortunately, the lay adhesion was one of the lowest with this hot end. This is where the extrusion force data becomes extremely valuable when analyzing the melting performance. Because the adhesion of a Starlex DHB was already low at slower speeds, but the extrusion force was on par with other hot ends, this means that the filament is just heated to a lower temperature from the start. And that makes sense, because we have a thermistor very close to the heater, and the hardened stainless steel nozzle is poor thermal conductor. Starlex DHB has almost an identical performance curve compared to the stock Bambu hot end, so increasing the printing temperature by around 10 degrees should bring it closer to the stock hot end's performance. Adding my previously tested hot ends, we can see an interesting trend. Aftermarket hot ends that have changeable nozzles just don't perform as well as hot ends that have integrated nozzle designs. The only exception is Mako, but that is mainly due to a very long melt zone and the nozzle being only a small portion of it. We can also see that a genuine CHT flow rate increasing design can offer a significant reduction in extrusion force. The Flowtech hot end, despite having a 21% longer melt zone than the stock hot end, still provides a low needed extrusion force, and the results with the shorter E4D high flow obsidian are even lower. As always, your hot end choice depends on what you want from it. Do you want easily changeable nozzles or just pure performance? Hopefully this testing data will make it easier for you to make a decision. There are affiliate links for the tested products in the description below. I would really appreciate it if you could join as a YouTube member or become a patron. With enough people supporting, we would no longer be dependent on companies deciding to provide products to test. I think we all as community want more product reviews that are based on actual testing data. But when we expose the flaws and reveal the poor performance of products, a lot of companies don't like that. This is how my in-depth 3D printer testing series slowly died down, and that is the exact reason why I want this to be independent with your support. Thank you so much who is already doing that. Well, that's all from me, and we'll see you next time.